Welcome back to the Reidel Law Firm Library and Odyssey channel. Today I want to chat about franchise agreement terms, in particular site restrictions. This is continuing our series that we started last year. We've done a few personal guarantees, confidentiality, non-competes, and let's continue that chat. Got some great stuff to talk about and make you aware of. If you are signing a franchise agreement or thinking about signing one and you don't know what any of those terms mean, go back and check out those videos. They're here on our channel, and I think you will find it helpful, right? So if you need help reading or reviewing a franchise agreement, or you're considering joining a franchise system, let's talk. This is what I do. I read, write, review franchise agreements. I represent franchisees and franchisors. So give me a call. Let's find a way to work together and help protect you. And so let's jump right into it. Site restrictions in a franchise agreement. So this is more of a collection of terms and clauses as opposed to one singular one like a personal guarantee or something. And these are going to be grouped around the rules for you as a franchisee to acquire and use a specific location, a specific site for your franchise business. So it's as simple as that, really. But there are some things in there that you probably may not be aware of if you haven't looked at it in detail or checked out your franchise agreement, which you definitely got to do, and highly recommend you have a franchise attorney to help you with that. So some of them, the restrictions can include a thing. Obviously, the first one's definitely going to be the franchisor has to approve your location, 100%. That's always required. They gotta approve your location, so you're not going to be in a subprime location or a place that's not the right fit for that brand or something. That's number one. Besides that, you're going to see stuff like maybe a certain square footage requirement. Sometimes they get as detailed as requiring a certain type of facilities. So like in the commercial real estate world, there's it's like type A, I guess, type B, and that's details, I guess, how new they are and then how nice they are and kind of the type of tenants that they would be there. Sometimes you got to be in those brand new type A locations as opposed to maybe an older strip mall center or something, which can have a huge impact, right, on your bottom line and your margins and whatnot. So that's some. What are some others? I just had my notes up here. Let me find them. There are requirements for upgrades and maintenance on your location that are going to be mandated from the franchisor. So if the franchisor says, "Hey, you got to refresh the brand, you got to change maybe the look, or put some new paint up or whatever," you're going to be required to do that. Now, probably that's not going to happen very quickly in your franchise agreement, but at some point down the line, that is typical. So be aware of that. That's something we always discuss with our clients, and it's usually a bigger deal if you're joining an existing system. So if you're joining, I don't know, Pizza Hut, right? They do a refresh every 15 years or so, give or take. Same with McDonald's, right? Maybe a little longer with McDonald's, depending on where you're at. But they're going to do refreshes, right? They're going to make you do some redesigns, and that's very typical. You got to make sure that your site is going to be able to handle that, right? And that you have a war chest, so to speak, capital, to be able to do that. Some other site restrictions include, what was the other one? Man, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Design and layout. That's right. Design and layout. So the franchisor is going to prescribe very specifically what your site design is going to look like from an interior, like decorative perspective, but also the layout. They're going to tell you where your kitchen needs to be if you're food and beverage, where the counter needs to be, where the service is, probably how many tables you're going to have and how many chairs you need to have in there. These are very specific. And that's a good and a bad thing. Good thing that it takes a lot of the math out of your hands that you got to worry about. The downside is that you don't have flexibility, right? You will be required to follow their strict requirements in site layouts and site designs and site approvals, all sorts of stuff. So if you are someone who has an eye for decorative stuff like that, and want to have that flexibility, look for a franchise that maybe doesn't have such strict site guidelines and discuss those issues with them or what your thoughts are. But be prepared that you're going to have to comply at some point if they require you to come in line with the uniform rules, right? The uniform requirements. So those are some of the major ones. These vary. Other ways that site restrictions are captured are how you work with customers and clients. If it's a retail, obviously you got to serve them at the location. You can't go and start doing catering or pop-up stores or something down the street or whatever. If it's a kind of a mobile or a service to go kind of a thing, maybe home service franchises, then you're looking at probably restrictions on the size of your territory and the type of customers or the location of the customers that you're serving. Those are very typical. And so it varies, right? I can't give you real specific advice without looking at your franchise agreement on what the site restrictions are or whether they're typical or not. But those are some ideas, right? Those are the things that you're typically going to see in a franchise agreement, some variation or flavor of it. And you got to be aware of it, right? You have to understand that going into a franchise, you're not going to have that freedom and flexibility as you would as a mom and pop or an independent shop, and that's okay. That's what franchising is. There's gives and takes. But you got to make sure it's the right fit for you, right? In understanding what your strengths and weaknesses are and what your passions are, and making sure that you find the right fit for you in joining a franchise. So that is, so that's just a little bit about franchise agreement terms, site restrictions. We don't need to go too deep on it, but if you need help with that, if you need help understanding your franchise agreement or reviewing it or maybe negotiating with your franchisor, let's chat. Reach out to me, detail in the description there, or go to my website, reidellawfirm.com. Let's chat. Let's get you on the right path and mitigate your risk and protect your business. So have a great week. We'll chat next time.